supervisor of the chief of police, correct? He did not report to the DA, he did not report to the Borough Council.
That's correct.
Okay. And under that form of government, before November 2023, how often typically did you meet or interact with him?
I would say a few times a week.
2 times a week. So did you have regularly scheduled meetings to discuss police affairs, or was it more when you ran into each other in Borough Hall, you ran into each other?
No, if either one had a topic to talk about, we'd get a hold of one another. It was pretty easy to interact that way.
Okay, so do you feel like you had a good grasp on how he was running the department?
Yes.
Okay. So then, my first question, and again, this is the time period before the November incident. How did you miss, or how did the system or the form of government fail to take action on the 8 incidents that the prosecutor's report laid out, all of which happened before the November incident?
I think, I don't have it in front of me, the report, but...
Do you want to look at the copy? I've got a copy of the report.
No, I don't think I need it, because I'm
Anybody wants to take a look?
I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority of those incidents were over a 6-month period, right up and through November of 2024. Up until then...
23.
I'm sorry?
23.
23, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, the date was wrong on the prosecutor's report. It was sent to you.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I believe it said January 18th, 2023. Right? And the report
It was
come out in
24th.
January
It was 24th. So prior to that, that last 6 months, I really didn't hear anything from any of the police force. That includes the officers, the lieutenants, captains, of any issues. I became aware of one of the issues the day after it happened. Sat down with the chief, went through it, and was made aware immediately that it was being investigated, which was the appropriate thing to do. Any investigations that happen in the police department typically are confidential, even to me. They could have an officer that's acting up, or somebody else has an issue, and that now Captain Browning had responsibility for dealing with internal affairs here and also interfacing with Freehold. So my actions took place as soon as I was made aware that there were issues. I met with one of the assistant prosecutors and 2 of her underlings, and after reviewing the information on these IA reports, within about 2 hours, I suspended or basically put the chief on leave. So that's when I was made aware of an issue and reacted on it immediately.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute, but my further question is, shouldn't you have known or heard about these other incidents? Because, let's face it, Bradley Beach is a small town, people talk, as you've noticed. People talk all the time. The report cites one incident where numerous citizens were there for the Latin Festival to do what was going on. You didn't hear from people in town?
Did not.
You didn't hear any complaints?
Nope, did not. Had I heard something, I would have acted on it and done an inquiry on it.
Did you ever speak to the chief before November 9th about any incident that isn't in the prosecutor's report that you heard?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever can you tell us about that?
I can give it to you in general terms.
Okay.
There was a complaint made, an investigation done by the prosecutor's office, and one of the assistant prosecutors called me, which actually she shouldn't have, but she did anyway, which I'm glad she did, because the findings were, I forget the term, inconclusive, or it's the same term that's in there if something's inconclusive. However, I felt it was important to talk to the chief about it. I sat down with him and said, look, this was the complaint. It was found to be not, again, I can't remember the term, not founded or whatever. But I would really advise you and counsel you to really don't even put yourself in a position of being close to any situation like that. So that was the counseling I gave him. I told him, you know, you're a year or 2 away from retirement. Don't blow it. You know, that was probably a year before that.
This was an incident that a member of the public property?
No,
A member
no,
of the
it
public
didn't come to
property?
me. It went to the prosecutor's office.
Oh, the complaint went to the prosecutor's office?
Correct.
They reached out to you?
Correct. They did an investigation, then reached out to me.
Said they had investigated this incident that you hadn't known about,
Correct.
and the matter was resolved as far as they were concerned.
Yes.
Okay, did any other member of the Bradley Beach public bring to you any complaints about the police chief? Which I think, if the system works properly, you're obliged to report that to the county prosecutor.
That's correct.
Right?
I do not recall any other resident agreement, besides in a public forum if somebody, made an offhanded remark. But, no, the only other one that, there is one other one. We had a resident who believed that our house was being bugged. And she inferred that it was the police, and she inferred I might have had something to do with it. So I instructed the police chief to go through the house and make sure that there's no issues in the person's house. So I did respond to that immediately.
Go ahead, you want to say
Yeah, I have a question. So you said this complaint that was from the prosecutor's office, the date was about a year before?
I'm doing that on recollection again.
Okay. So you don't recall any additional complaints that were made directly to your office?
No.
Are you aware that a complaint about a superior officer made directly to your office should immediately be forwarded to the prosecutor's office?
Yes, but as I said, the complaint that you're referencing was at the prosecutor's office already.
Well, there's a previous complaint from September 27, 2021, that was answered by Ms. Humphrey, but was never forwarded, and that was confirmed by the prosecutor's office. Was never forwarded on.
Okay, that could very well be.
Couldn't that have saved us all a little bit of heartache over the next couple of years?
Well, it may or may not have, depending on what the complaint was.
So was that complaint made by someone who is a resident or someone who is a member of a faction?
I'm not sure. I don't. You must have a document. I don't know.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So Ms. Humphrey, as I remember, forwarded this to the prosecutor's office.
I did not get confirmation of that from them. And I got no additional follow-up from Ms. Humphrey. And I was the one who made the second complaint directly to the prosecutor's office because I was...
Again, I'd have to go back to Ms. Humphrey.
Okay, but...
If it went directly to her,
No, it came to you. You were CC'd on it. So.
then I'm sure she forwarded it to the prosecutor's office if that's the procedure.
Yeah, that was confirmed by the prosecutor's office. That didn't happen. And so basically, a member of that faction, their rights were violated under the Attorney General's guidelines.
I can't answer that question because Ms. Humphrey, I have to talk to Ms. Humphrey to see